Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of rapid fire reviews. So I've been very behind on my movie watching for the year, so this is my way to get a few films out of the way very, very quickly. I'm gonna review 4 films today, which is Athena, Don't Worry Darling, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, and 13 Lives. So usually these are more straight to streaming movies that come on Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, things like that, or just movies that came out in theaters that I missed out on. Finally got the chance to watch, and now I'm bringing them to the rapid fires. So yes, without further ado, let me give my really quick general opinions of the movies, what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them, an overall score, and yeah, so let's start off with it. So the first film I have is Athena. This is a French-made film that you'll find on Netflix that's about an hour and 40 minutes long. It takes place hours after the tragic death of 3 siblings, youngest brothers, in very unexplained circumstances. There's some sides saying that the police went out, beat their brother, killed him, left him for dead in the streets. Other sources say that his death was basically a martyr created by a class that was trying to, again, to blame this on the police from the start so they could start a revolution. So this takes place within a very, very, very almost civil war like state between citizens and the police in a smaller French town. And yeah, it's just they have their lives thrown into chaos. They're all on separate sides and have separate goals from this revolution. And so, yeah, they're just all on separate sides. And it is a story, again, just too about, well, class struggle. And again, just again, like I was saying, 3 brothers caught up on so many different sides of this conflict. So really the main driving factor of this movie is, one, the acting is incredible, and it's by, of course, just all the actors. All the actors bring their absolute A game to it, but the directing is really what sells this movie to me. So the cinematography is absolutely incredible, and very, like, for this to be a straight to streaming movie was very, very surprising because of how, again, too, just amazing that it looks and it's shot. The atmosphere around it is absolutely amazing. The scale is done so perfectly, and a lot of the movie and a lot of the scenes are all done or shot to look like they're done in one take. So there'll be long, like 20-minute scenes before they cuts to the next one. And yeah, again, too, just all the set design, acting, everything that goes into that is absolutely amazing and incredible and so much fun to watch because, again, too, it's just beautiful how this movie came, how it was filmed. Where it struggles, though, is in its storytelling, where, again, too, you have such a something that we see way too often nowadays in terms of the class struggle, and I feel like there should have been a lot more commentary in on it. They definitely focus on the 3 brothers a lot and their personal experience, but that doesn't really seem to speak to the overall just, again, political, socioeconomical themes that the movie's going for, and a lot of that kind of feels lost in the background of this movie. It feels like they could have done so much more with these themes, and a lot of that kind of gets lost. And again, you're distracted enough by the amazing filmmaking that's going on in this movie, but again, dude, the story just doesn't really go anywhere and takes a lot away from the, again, just everything from this movie. But really, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. I do think this is something that I would recommend to anyone to watch if you want to study filmmaking and, again, to just see how movies should be made, because it's beautiful. It's so good, so damn good. Just how incredibly shot this movie is. And yeah, that's why I'm gonna have to give it 6 out of 10. Do recommend it just for that. The next film I have is Don't Worry Darling. This one is still in theaters. It is just a little over 2 hours long, directed by Olivia Wilde. Stars Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, and it is about a 1950s housewife living with her husband in a very utopian experimental community. But everything kind of begins to worry that this glamorous company could be hiding some very disturbing secrets. One of the, well, neighbors that Florence Pugh's character starts or lives around kind of starts having these visions and going crazy and just questioning everything around her, and that starts to send Florence Pugh's character into the same kind of state, questioning again too just the reality of the situation that they're in. And yeah, this was kind of, I'm ignoring the hype around this movie and just all the controversy that came out around, of course, the actors within the film. But very, very hyped up this movie was to something that is very, again, too, like Athena. I found themes that were just very unexplored and like a lot wasn't done with, but it is a very, very well-made film in terms of its directing, in terms of, again, to the characters within. Of course, Pew knocks it out of the park. I found Chris Pine did an absolutely amazing job too. Set design, costume design, everything like that does truly feel like the 1950s, and it does a really good job again to just creating that atmosphere. And there are times where this can be really creepy, but I found a lot of the context was missing from the scenes. So if there was a lot more context in it too, just exploring the themes a lot more, it would have actually been something that I could have connected to, and it would have hit me harder a little bit. But I found too, like, there's some great scenes where Florence Pugh's character, like, they really go into her character feeling like she's constrained and she can't believe anything in this new reality. So there'd be scenes where she's wrapping like cellophane around her head, or the glass windows that she's cleaning start to basically compress against her and she can't breathe. She's suffocating. But I find that again too, just the world that they created isn't explained until the last like 20-ish minutes of this movie. And I feel like if they would have had more clues, her figuring out things a little quicker, things like that, it would have been a lot more of, again, to just bringing you into her reality so you could experience the movie a little bit more. And again, so I found the ending was just so fast paced and kind of unbelievable at points, where it was just so goofy, really bad chasing that happens at the end of this movie. That's just not believable at all. Yeah, again, to just something that's really, really goofy. The main message of this movie and kind of what the answer is at the end is just rushed over. Again, too, it was a really, really slow build up, or a slow burn that didn't have a satisfying conclusion to me. So I'm gonna have to give Don't Worry Darling a 5 out of 10. I mean, again, too, for some of the performances and directing, this movie is pretty stellar in a lot of ways, but it just got lost on me throughout the majority of this movie. So the next one I have, you'll find on Netflix, is about an hour and 45 minutes long. This is Mr. Harrigan's Phone. It is directed by John Lee Hancock and it stars Donald Sutherland and Jaden Martell. So, this is of course based off of the Stephen King novel, where when Mr. Harrigan dies, the teen who befriended him and did odd jobs and read books to him as basically his vision and just capacity to do things on his own were failing, puts his smartphone in his pocket before his burial, and when the lonely youth leaves his dead friend a message, he is shocked to get a return text. So I have read the book. I do know how that goes, and I found that this movie missed out on a lot of the horror elements that made that book such a great thing, where this is a bit more of a mystery what if kind of scenario. That's again too, I found the acting was decent in it, the soundtrack was decent in it, but missed out on a lot of the horror and themes and brutality of that book that just took a lot of the soul out of this movie. And I don't want to say made it unwatchable, but definitely made it not really as enjoyable to go through. I mean, knowing the end, reading the book, knowing the ending, I mean, I was expecting it. It was pretty easy to see coming, but it was just, again, to something very, very, I don't know if I want to say shallow, but just not as grand as this movie thought it was going for, shocking, disturbing as I think it thought it was trying to be. Um, there's really not much else I can say about this one. Just not faithful to the source material. That could have been so great if they followed that a little bit more and went to the horror aspects of it. So I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10. Again, it's on Netflix, a very easy binge watch, nothing too scary, nothing that I would recommend watching as a horror movie this October, but yeah, it's there. And the last film I have, you'll find on Amazon Prime. It is 13 Lives, and it's about 2.5 hours long. Directed by Ron Howard, stars Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, Joel Edgerton. But it is about the rescue mission that happened in Thailand a few years ago, where a group of young boys and their soccer coach get trapped in a system of underground caves that start flooding due to a very unforeseen monsoon in the area. And it is about that rescue mission to get these 13 people out of the, well, of course, out of the cave system. And holy shit, I this movie came out a few months ago and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't watch it sooner. It's been on my watch list since the movie came out and since I've been seeing the trailers. But Ron Howard and of course everyone just involved in this movie did an amazing job, one, making this movie accurate to, of course, how the events actually played out in Thailand, but having that commentary and just the real life. So the tactics that were employed to get these kids out are very accurately portrayed in this movie and just done so brilliantly and intensely. The directing is fantastic in this movie. It is very, very, very well done. And again, too, just sucks you into that feeling that, again, too, you know how the events play out if you followed the case or you remember anything about it. But it did such a great job of keeping you so intense and wondering what's going to happen, how events are going to play out throughout the entirety of the movie. Because again, too, just how effective the acting is, the camera work is, again, too, just kind of the stunt work that went into this movie to again just accurately portray how everything again played out for these people was just incredible. It is one of the best directed movies that I've seen this year, one of the most accurate again to just depictions of a non-fictional case. Just brilliantly made, one of the best movies to be directed this year and to come out this year. Really, it was something special and something I have to recommend to anyone, because it of course too is just a very intense and inspiring story that is full of a lot of real world trauma events. And just again too, it's not pushing an agenda of climate change, not pushing an agenda of like things like that that try and get in your face politically, things like that. It is just the story of the rescue, and just done phenomenally in the best way possible, that I do think anyone can go into this and not get offended, not get it's just so brilliantly made. So brilliantly made and so truly made to, of course, the source material that it comes from. So really, I'm gonna have to give 13 Lives a 9 out of 10. Very effective, brilliant film, and one of the best films that I've watched all year. So if you've seen any of these 4 films, please let me know what you thought about them in the comments down below. And of course, if you like this review with these reviews, give me a thumbs up, and you can check out everything I do on this channel. Links and playlists up top here for convenience sake. And thank you for subscribing, turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
Sky blue eyes, I see a world behind them. No more time sinking into the silence.